Good morning, Rob the tree fruit guy here. Wanted to talk to you about a couple of things this morning. One of the things that we're working on in the field right now, two things. Scoring for branching. That's when we score above a bud in order to get a branch to come out exactly where we want it. That's usually on a wire or a lower whorl for a cherry tree or something like that. The other thing that I want to talk to you about today would be girdling, the practice of girdling. We like to girdle when a tree is excessively strong, has a high amount of vigor, which causes it to alternate bear. In other words, it'll have a crop one year and then the next year it won't have a crop. One of the ways that we pull it out of that alternate bearing and get that tree to settle back into a rhythm is we will girdle that tree. There's several ways to do that, and we're going to go over a couple of those with you today. These are tools that I would use for girdling a tree. I would use just a regular old hand saw. This is actually a girdling knife. If you look at that knife, you'll see it has like a half circle on it, and it's very, very sharp right there. So you can put that on a tree and make your way around it. I really like these for doing a spiral girdle. The beauty of the spiral girdle is the sap runs up, it hits an opening, and it has to go a spiral around the cambium layer to make its way up into the tree. A little more aggressive when you get to a saw blade like this, and of course this is the big boy for the big jobs. We're going to go over that here in a minute. For scoring for branching, though, I'm going to talk to you about that right now. Scoring for branching, these are the tools that I like to use. I've used a pocket knife with great success before. If you have a serrated pocket knife, that seems to work a little bit better. This is a sheetrock saw. I've had real good success on a little bigger tree using a sheetrock saw. You can see it's got a little more girth on the blade right there. What I'm going to use today, and what we typically use, is a scroll saw. That's just a carpenter's scroll saw. You can buy it in a little saw like this. A lot of times the guys will actually tape these together and make them into a handle, but this is a scroll saw, and this is a sponge blade. Now, the object of doing the scoring for branching on an apple tree, this is our apple tree, and you can see on this system here, we like to have everything on the wire. And one of the ways that we get everything on the wire and we fill every space is we would girdle above a bud so that we force a branch to grow in exactly the place we want it to. I'm going to use this tree over here as a demonstration. This tree is growing up, and we have a branch on the bottom wire here, and we have a branch on the bottom wire here. What I don't have is I don't have a branch here, and I don't have a branch here, and I'd like to have a branch here. So what I will do is I'll find a nice bud right above the wire where I think I could get a good limb, and I'm going to notch very slightly right above that bud. Just a little notch, just enough to stop that sap. It's like a dam when that sap hits it, and it'll force that bud to push out. Now, another trick we like to do is we have a recipe of white paint and a growth product called Promallin. I'm sure many of you have heard of Promallin. We'll put that mix together and we'll dip this in that white paint and Promallin solution. And I really like these little sponges because they have the little point on them. And we'll put that right inside of that area that we have just done our scoring cut on. And we've had great success at forcing branches to come exactly where we want them, on the wire where we want them. One more time, this is really simple. I'm just gonna go right above that bud right there. See, that bud right there? I'm gonna go right above it. And I'm going to do a little notch, right, about a third of the way around that tree. And there's my notch. You'll have real good success with just the physical notch. Dot a little paint in there. And this is for an apple tree, to get them to break on the wire. We're going to make our way now to a cherry tree. I love scoring and Promallin on cherry trees to get the whorls placed on the cherry tree where we want them. That's the different layers of the trees. So we're going to move now. We're going to move over to a little cherry block right next to this, and we'll talk about branching on cherries.